So for the last 5 or 6 years, our family has been going sort of all out for Halloween. Year on year, we've been accumulating more random little decorations, and we just put the ball up and cover our cars in cobwebs, spiders all over the driveway, and we obviously give the trick-or-treaters some sweets. But this year, we thought, how can we make it any better? Because, you know, all we've done year on year is just add more and more spiders, ghouls, skeletons. And I thought I'd take it upon myself this year to do the planning for this year's Halloween display. So this year I chose the theme of Stranger Things. Now this is one of my favourite TV programmes out there. Probably I'd say top 3. So I've planned to make 4 of my decorations from scratch. So the first one of these is from season 4. So there are some spoilers in this video if you haven't watched all of Stranger Things. But if you have, I'm sure you will understand what I'm on about. This first decoration is Max levitating in Stranger Things season 4. This obviously happens when she is taken hostage by Vecna, and I plan to hang this in my driveway so people couldn't see how it was hung, so it did look like she was levitating here too. The good thing is I have some gravestones from the past years as well, so we could just use those to make a little graveyard. The second decoration is from Stranger Things season 1, and that's where Joyce puts up lots of fairy lights in her house to try and contact Will, and then she draws the alphabet on her wall. The third decoration is from season 4 as well, and that is the grandfather clock, which warns people that Vecna's on their way. And the fourth and final decoration, which I think was definitely the hardest, is a Stranger Things portal. Now these appear across all 4 seasons of Stranger Things, and they're pretty iconic. And the plan was to put this around my door. These aren't all the decorations, of course. We obviously used from previous years, just like spiders and stuff, just to add a little bit more of a dynamic. So let me take you along with my journey of how I created my Stranger Things display. So I'm about to start work on our sort of levitating Max. Now I still haven't decided how we're gonna hang her or make her look like she's levitating yet, but I think we'll get to that on the day. So I've tried to make this image once already, and that didn't go too well because we used PVA glue and it then just went all over the place and everything just looked rubbish. So we've made these pictures here. These are little parts of her. So we're going to start off by cutting them out, and then we're going to stick them down with some Scotch tape onto some cardboard. So let's get cutting. Okay, so here are all of the pieces that make up our Max figure. I'm not 100% sure how we're going to place them all on, because I'm not sure how I remember to put them in every place really, but I'm sure we'll wing it and I'm sure we'll get it sorted. Okay, so here she is. It probably won't fit on screen, but that is what we're looking at. You can still see some of the lines of the tape and stuff. We'll surely clean those up. It does actually span 2 pieces of cardboard. I've had to gaffer tape them together. But once we cut it out, you won't be able to see any of that. And it should look really nice. So I'm going to go and get a sharper pair of scissors. I'm going to cut this thing out. Here she is, all cut out now. We've had to leave a little bit of a border, but that doesn't seem to make much of a difference. Using scissors was quite a challenge. We tried to sharpen them and everything, and it still didn't do any difference. So we had to go out and buy new blades for our Stanley knife, and that worked a charm. It was really easy to do, and it's all ready now. So the next thing I'm going to be moving on to is the alphabet lights. So from season 1, all the way back in season 1, it may feel like an age away. Now we're on season 4. These are the lights that Joyce put up to try and talk to Will in the Upside Down. So we're going to have the alphabet and then have some twinkly lights. So I'm out in the garden today. The weather's quite nice, not too sunny, not too much rain, but the sun will make its way over very soon. So I've got my board, it's 2 pieces of cardboard sellotaped together, like so, and that's going to be our base ready for the A to Z. Now, I'm going to paint this side of it, because this one has sort of a little bit of a dent in it, so I'm going to paint this one all white, with our leftover white paint that I found in the shed, some old paintbrush, and then we'll wait for that to dry, and then we're going to get either some marker pens or some black paint. I've got both, we'll see which one works better, and we're going to write the A to Z on there, and then I'll get some fairy lights, string them around, and it will look just like Stranger Things. So let's get going. I think that's us done. That's our little white piece of card. I might do a second layer. We've still got the paint there if we need it, but I think that looks all right. My main worry was whether that was going to cover the tape. There are a few patches there, but if that dries and it dries all right, just like it is now, I think we'll just leave it and we'll get on to putting our black letters on in a couple of hours time when it's all dried, and then I think we're basically ready to go. We're now moving on to our grandfather clock. So I've got these boxes here, and the idea is they'll sort of stack on top of each other, gaffer tape them together again. I'm thinking, because it sort of has a curved top and then it sort of goes in and out, I might draw that on, cut it out, and then maybe mould the cardboard to it. You'll see what I'm doing. And then we'll get some brown paint on it, make it look nice, and then it's all done. Easier said than done, but yeah, we're gonna have that problem with the tape again. This one doesn't have tape on it. That's not a good example. This one we'll have a problem with because of the tape. So I might try and get one without tape. That one uses adhesive underneath instead. Or we could tape it up with masking tape. I'm not sure, but we'll work it out. But this is what we've got so far. I don't know if you can see it too well. Let's bring them over. So here's the first, this is the top one. You've obviously got the curve, a little bit out, and then comes back in again. Which continues on this one down, and then it goes out into this big wide base. I don't know how easy it's going to be. But I think what the plan should be is that we paint them first and then cut them out. Might make it a little bit easier. Let's get on with it. So we're starting off with the bottom box now. It has got this sellotape on it. So what we've got is some masking tape. We're just going to go over that because masking tape paints pretty well, and that should make it a lot easier. That's all done. Looks pretty good. That should be all right. Hopefully it doesn't have a yellow tint to it. The good thing is we do actually need yellow in the middle because of the gold swingy thing in the middle. Don't know what it's called, but yeah, I think it looks all right. So I actually found this one a bit easier than the piece of white cardboard, to be honest with you. So that first one's done. What I didn't really remember was that the pencil lines I've drawn out to cut have rubbed off. We're gonna have to redraw those back on when it dries. Shouldn't be too much of a problem. The tape in the middle did a pretty good job. You can't really see it now, considering we're gonna paint on top of it anyway with different colors for the design of the clock itself. I think it might just do with that one coat. So I've moved a little bit to the corner of the tarpaulin because everyone else has got paint on it. I don't really want to get paint on my trousers. But we're on the last box, well, the second of the boxes. And again, these lines are going to disappear. They're just there for a guide really anyway. We've got our box of paint here. Oh, that's heavy. And let's get going. This one doesn't actually have the tape in the middle, so that's going to make it a lot easier. So that is all done. All three pieces I've planned to paint today are all done. So it might start to rain. There is sort of a rain cloud in the sky, so I don't want to risk it. So I'm going to pop them all in the shed. We'll come back from whatever we're doing today. I don't know what we're going to do, but we'll do something. And they should all be dry, and we'll be able to start painting the details on here, start painting the letters onto the white piece of card, and I think that's almost everything done for Halloween. Okay, so I've been gone a couple of hours now. This is basically dry. There's a little bit of wet paint where that sellotape is. I might be able to go over that later. I'm just going to try and avoid that when I'm writing the letters. I decided to veer away from black paint really, and we're going to go with these permanent markers, about 10 for £1 in Poundland. So just grabbed a few of them, and I'm going to mark it out in pencil first, and then we'll just go over it in pen. Doesn't need to be too neat. Obviously, in Stranger Things itself, she writes on the wall really quickly and quite not unneat, if you know what I mean. So that's what we'll be doing as well. So this is the image we're going for. So it goes A to H on the first row, then I to Q on the second row, and then R to Z on the bottom. And I think we can pretty much get that done now. So here we have our finished sort of alphabet. We'll get the lights on the day and it'll be a lot easier to just pin it up and then put the lights onto it. But that is all done, and that's two of our 3 or 4 things that we've got to make all done.
So we're back inside now. The rain has started to pour outside, so we're in the hallway. I've plastered the floor. Every single inch of the floor is covered in newspaper, so we shan't get any paint on it. Touch wood. But what I've got to do is we've got to redraw those lines for the grandfather clock. I think I might do it a little bit more simpler than I did before, just to make it a little bit easier. It doesn't need to be perfect, does it? I think I might just have it square up until the top where it arches over. Just make it nice and simple, really. And then we'll paint it. So first we'll draw on the details and then we'll get to painting it. So we've drawn on all of our details and we've sort of worked out we'll need about 4 or 5 colours. So on here at the top you need white, grey, black and yellow. It's supposed to be gold. Can't find gold paint, so I'm just going to make it yellow. And then on here just a yellow and light brown. So we're going to start painting. The only real paints I have are these watercolour ones. But I'm sure if we don't water them down, they'll look alright and they'll stick on. Fingers crossed. Otherwise we're a bit doomed. For the black bits, which aren't too many, it's really just the clock handles, we have acrylic paint. But, you know, as we've done this whole time, just going to wing it really and it'll work in the end, I'm sure. So here we have them, our 2 painted boxes, all really decorated. Might need a few more finishing touches. The yellow needs to be a little bit darker and we also need to draw on the clock hands. I think that looks all right. And we've obviously got to cut the top off, make it look more like a clock and stick the 2 boxes together. That's basically done then. And now we're going to move on, while those dry, onto our big piece on the door, which is going to be a bit like a portal to the upside down. So let's get cracking on that. So we're now going to make a start on our little portal, which is going to go around our door. Now it's going to go on the outside, but the outside's practically the same size. So it's going to be a whole width of this door, but we're also going to have, obviously have a gap for the door, but not the whole door, just a little bit of a portal here, round it off. So I've done the measurements. It's 1.75 m by 2.30 m all the way to the roof. And then we're going to have a gap of 65 centimetres by 1.50 m in the middle. So, got 1 box, 2 boxes, and quite a few scraps of cardboard from our other project. I'm going to get started, make this frame, and I'll see you in a minute. So it's taken me a good amount of time, but here it is, the massive portal to the upside down. It doesn't look like it yet, but it's going to look amazing, I'm sure. So we've got it all together, got to cut it out here, and at the bottom you can't really see it, but I've just tested it out on the doorway and it works absolutely perfectly. Folds up really easily so we can store it while we're doing other stuff. So that's sorted for today, and we're going to finish that off tomorrow. But for now, we're going to finish on the grandfather clock. So what we're going to do is we're going to draw the hands on here and draw on the numbers, Roman numerals. And then we put it out here, stick it all together. Okay, so here it is, our fully finished clock. So it's got the hands on it now. We've rounded over the top and we've stuck it all together. So that's all done now. So that's 3 out of the 4 things we've got to make. And now we're going to be moving on to our archway for the door. So I've already made the frame for that already. Now we've just got to decorate it. Okay, so we don't actually have enough black paint to paint all over this. We have a little bit, as I showed you earlier in that black tube, but instead we have these sort of surplus black bags that we bought the wrong size of. So I think this would make a great thing. We just stick them down and it's going to add the texture that we need. If we just drape them over like so, and we're just going to start sticking them around. And I think we have just enough to cover it all. So I think these are a perfect idea. Here it is. This is our fully covered in bin bags piece of cardboard. Now you may be wondering why there's little gaps, but you'll see what we're going to do with those later. So I think this has added the sort of texture and the theming that we need. It's got that wrinkly sort of tone to it, but it's not quite there just yet. So we're going to add a bit more detail. Okay, so after about a day of working out what we're going to do with these little gaps here and all around, really, there's more than I intended there to be. But if you've seen Stranger Things, this will make a lot of sense. But you've obviously got like the tentacles sort of things, the arms, I don't know what you want to call them, that come out of the portal and add the texture to it. So what we're going to do, we've got 2 pieces of newspaper, and scrunch those up, pop them inside another bin bag, and then we shall cut that down there like so. Might as well rip the rest of it. Let's not do that actually. It didn't work very well. And there we go. So we then wrap that up like that. Move that bin bag out of the way. And then we've got one of our little tentacle thingy-majigs. If we scrunch it up a bit more, we have more of a texture to it. Yeah, so we're going to get a load of those sorted and stick them down in the bits where we have doesn't look great and there's holes and stuff, and then it will be looking all right. I've also secured some orange and red acrylic paint so we can give it a bit of colour. We've got all of our sort of, I think we call them vines, arms, tentacles, whatever you want to call them, they're all ready. So the last thing we have to do to finish this all off is to paint it. So here's our red, our orange, and if we need it a bit of black, we shouldn't need too much, maybe just to clear up where the tape is still showing. But that's as practically finished, and I'm now just going to get to painting it. Here it is, all finished, looking a lot more like, oh, it's still wet paint, so we need to be careful, but there it is. I am absolutely ecstatic. I'm so pleased with it. It looks so much better than I thought it would. When we had just the bin bags on here, it was just looking terrible, but now we've got it finished. I think that's just about right. Okay, so that's all 4 of our sort of cardboard structures done. So we've got our clock here, we have the portal down on the floor here, we've got the alphabet and the hanging Max. So all 4 of those are done. So we've got nothing really left to make. We will do a pumpkin. Halloween is not Halloween without a pumpkin. I won't bore you with that though, it's going to be pretty normal. Might have a Stranger Things design on here. I haven't really decided, but we'll see. And then we're going to print out some different decorations too, so maybe some signs and some little posters. You'll see it all. But it's Saturday now. We've got 2 more days to just leave this to dry, and we'll be putting it up maybe tomorrow, some of the stuff, but it's supposed to rain, so we might leave some of this inside and put it up on the day, but some of the stuff can go up tomorrow. So this is the driveway. Before we start doing anything to it, we've got a little bit of cleaning up to do, and then we'll put up all of our decorations for the trick-or-treaters that will be turning up in about 27 hours or so. So let's get to work and I'll show you what it looks like after. Okay, so it is all finished. So let me take you on a tour around the garden. So here we have our Max levitating above some grate, which is cordoned off by a bit of police tape. We've got some bats hanging there as well. And then we come over to our alphabet with all the lights over the beetle. That looks. And then we've got our clock here, which is starting to run a little bit, but never mind. And we've got lots of spiders coming out of that. And here is the door. So that's everything finished. Unfortunately, the rain has got to everything really. It's just going to stand the test of time.
So I hope you enjoyed watching how I got along making this display. It was so much fun to make. And of course, the weather did get to it in the end. There was quite a bit of rain, which did seem to ruin the clock. This is what it looked like at the end of the night. It was unfortunate, but it was all worth it when you had people come along and say, oh my God, I love this. And, you know, I feel like I'm in Stranger Things. I literally got someone say, oh my God, this is like a replica. And, you know, the hours that I'd put into it really did pay off there. So I hope you enjoyed. This was a really fun video to make, of course. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed seeing how we transformed our house into a Stranger Things sort of set. I'm pretty sure I'll do something similar next year. If you've got any suggestions of what theme we'll go with next year, I don't think we'll go with Stranger Things again. But if you know any other horror TV shows or films that might go well, please suggest them down in the comments. So I hope to see you in another Benny Boo video, whether that be next month or next year for next year's Halloween display. I will see you soon. Bye bye.